It's lovely to have your company today. This is Esther from Stampin Star Creations with the Global Stampin Video Hop. This month's theme is to use vellum and to show you techniques with vellum. So a good old firm favourite is using the Stampin blends, and I've picked out some colours here. We've got the light shaded spruce, dark shaded spruce, and dark mossy meadow, and the dark pretty peacock. I tend to go for the darker colours just because I think they're a bit more impactful when you are using alcohol with them. So I had this idea of doing kind of stripes and strips across my page in the hope that when I come to add alcohol later it will help hold its shape and have the idea that I'm looking for to use with the stamp set I want. So I'm laying down the colours just in strips. You don't have to be too careful with this technique because the colour does spread when you come to add the isopropyl alcohol. So laying down the dark colours and then just using the lighter colour just to fill in those gaps to cover the vellum. So this is just a quarter page of A4. I've cut myself for 4 pieces, so that's what we're going to be working on today. Grabbing out paintbrushes, I'm trying to decide which one to use. I want something that's going to pick up some of the alcohol without being too fine and without being too thick. So just laying down some strips on the page and seeing how this alcohol spreads. Now obviously it's dependent on how much alcohol is on your paintbrush, depends on how much will spread. I always forget that it does spread a lot further than you think it's going to, and they tend to blob out rather than stay in the stripes. So this was a steep learning curve for me, and it's very unpredictable. I think in your head you kind of have this idea of how you want it to go, and then it just does its own thing. It has a mind of its own. So that was the end result. I'm just going to set it aside to dry, and it's just got some movement with the liquid there. So I'm not giving up. I'm trying again with a similar technique, trying stripes again, and this time maybe been a little bit more careful as to where I lay down the alcohol. So again, trying to do stripes of alcohol across my lines, trying to be fairly gentle and not laying it all over. But you'll soon see that this, again, will blob, and I've got these bigger blobs and spaces. So let's go back to the more conventional idea of having more either circular shapes or a lot of the time you just do patches, but I wanted to try out circles for some reason, just for an alternative. So filling in all the gaps, making sure the colours vary across my page. And this time, rather than doing stripes, I'm just going to gently dab on the alcohol in places. So as you can see, these are forming those lovely little pond puddles, and this colourway is lending itself really to this technique. So I carry on blobbing and filling the gaps. I'm not very patient when it comes to the alcohol, so I just kept on blobbing in between the gaps until there were no more gaps. There was a bit of a big puddle there where there was a lot of alcohol and it merged in quite a big way. But, you know, again, you learn from that technique. I thought, oh, this is working. I will try this again. And we'll just, again, lay down some more colours in circles and dots and spots. And then we'll do the little dabbing technique. So literally on this point of the paintbrush. And then just keep dabbing, dabbing and dabbing in between the gaps to fill out any areas that weren't covered. Again, this one had some bigger blobs, but, you know, it's fine. At the end of the day, this is your background. It's going to be covered anyway. So... And then I'm going to set this aside to dry, just checking to see if there's any more areas to fill, and just fill those in. A little bit of blob here and there of alcohol. There, I think I was happy. I just kept going. Okay, let's put that one aside to dry. So this one I did earlier, I just needed to add some more alcohol. As you can see, there's lots of space down the side here that wasn't covered, and it just needed to splurge out a bit more. So this is the first one I did. I'm covering it with the Stampin' Pal Buddy embosser thingy, and coming in with the stamp set. I've not left my stamp sets out. Let's find the name. Courage and Faith, this one from Stampin' Up, and just using the gold embossing powder on this. So if you've not seen this technique, use Versamark ink, which is clear and sticky. Perfect combination to then put your gold powder on top. And then once you've put the gold powder on top, you heat it, and then it leaves you with this lovely shiny gold embossed look. Really pleased with the way this turned out. And I'm filling in the leaves now with the Pretty Peacock just to add a bit more detail to see if the leaves would show up more, and adding drops of alcohol. So you've got to be extra careful with this because the alcohol did go outside the edges, but it just brought a little bit of detail to the leaves. Okay, next we're using Fun on Wheels. So this was my original idea, to have a scene with the bicycles in, but it didn't quite work out how I was thinking, so I was just going with the flow. So I'm turning over my page so it's the alcohol side up, and laying down the map stamp with some black memento ink, and then add it so it adds to the background, turning it back over so then I could put my bicycles on. I was in two minds whether to use black or gold, but I thought I'd stick with the gold theme to make those stand out. So once again, just heating the powder onto those to create that gold embossed look, and you can see that mapping in the background. So grabbing out yet another stamp set, Botanical Layers, I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool to have these golden leaves on top of this lovely, almost like an aloe vera background? I don't know, it's like cells of a plant, isn't it, when you cut open the plant, I think. And then added on some dotted using the Courage and Faith stamp set. And then I used the bee stamp set for this one, the Queen Bee, just for a different look. So here they are all together, all four of them that we've made. And now we're going to do something with them and make them up into cards. So I trimmed all these down, and so they are now 3 7/8 by 5 7/8, so they're ready to fit on some card later. And I thought I'd like to try adding some more detail. Now I saw this technique in a video recently where somebody added gold flakes to the glue, and I can't remember for the life of me whether you're supposed to let the glue dry or whether you put it straight on the glue or what. So here's me going in with wet glue, which I've outlined some of the alcohol with, making sure I go off the page to make it look natural and to create a marble effect. And I'm coming on with my gold leafing, very messy. I got gold fingers at the end of this, but you know, all part of the fun. And just taking off the excess with the sponge, and sure enough, it does stick to the wet glue. Ta-da! Look at this. Luxury. I love this. Yeah, I really enjoyed doing that. So I was like, right, let's do it again with this one. So did it with the bike. This time I actually heated the glue a little bit first to make it tacky, to see if it was any difference. To be honest, I don't think it made much of a difference. It was still a bit tacky, but you know, it will dry. So I didn't bother doing it with these dotty ones. I couldn't see how it'd look right, so I left it. I was a bit careful initially of how I put the glue on to stick these down to a white base, because I wasn't sure how much the glue would show through. So I'm just going over where the embossed parts are, and then just repeating the process for each one, really. The white background just makes it stand out. So on this one I thought, all right, I'm going to be a little bit more not liberal, the opposite of liberal with the glue, and see if it makes any difference. And I think because of the alcohol pattern, you can't really see the glue, so you can use this multi-purpose liquid glue with it. And then the last one is the plants, and the botanical layers. So coming in now with my gold ink, because there's just a bit of white edging showing. It didn't quite cover in some places where I stuck it down, although I cut it down to the same size. I think there's slight warping with the vellum when you heat it, so it's not going to be exactly on point. So there you can probably see a bit more of the white border showing, and it highlights the edging as well. So mounting them all on shaded spruce card, and I'm just giving it a good old rub with the bone folder just to make sure that's nicely adhered. And here they are in all their glory, the final cards. I was tempted to change the colours that I use, but I thought, let's just stick to the same colourway. And I've given you 4 different versions with different stamp sets and 2 different ways of doing the alcohol ink. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope it's inspired you to give that a go. Just make sure you're in a very well ventilated room. Please go and check out the other projects that people have done on the global Stampin' Video Hop to see what they've done with their vellum techniques. Also, take care, God bless, enjoy your day.